have with me Pav from, I believe, Pav Sport. Is it now, Pav?
PSB Sports. Yes,
PSB Sports. Okay. So how are you, Pav?
Ingram, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Very happy to start the new year 2015. Everything's good. How are you? And also happy new year to you.
Thank you very much. It's been a good start to the new year.
Yes.
But let's talk about 2014, where we met, the big event, Bad Blood in London.
That's right.
Talk to me about the experience, how you got into boxing in terms of, you know, your journey up to that point.
Well, basically, before the Bad Blood weigh-in itself, I made numerous boxing videos on other events that had occurred already, whether it would have been by Matchroom or by Frank Warren Promotions. I was doing many previews and talks on boxing before that, and you know, I'm a huge, absolutely massive boxing fan. I think in the first interview we did, I was sort of explaining to you, you know, as a kid growing up, some of the biggest fights I can remember from a height perspective was Hay Harrison and Groves to Gale as I was growing up. But and ever since then, I've always been an absolutely huge boxing fan. So I've continued that interest and my encouragement in boxing into making the videos that I had done up until that point. And when it came along that that there were Bad Blood tickets available for this event, I thought I had to go to it. You know, there isn't an event bigger this year other than Foch Groves 2 that was 6 months before. So I thought, you know, I've got to go to this Bad Blood event. It's on my doorstep, and also it'd be great to interview the fighters and meet the fighters, and you know, speak to people like you as well in the media industry who have been very helpful in them.
Okay, good. Thanks for that. So what was it? I mean, you're 18, right?
That's correct. I'm 18. Yeah.
So you're pretty young in terms of the sport, but you have such a good knowledge of the game for sure.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from?
Well, I think with any maybe youngster, I think it's always good to start off young in anything in life. It's all, because if you start off young in something, it's always gonna be there when you're older. You're always gonna remember it. For, like, this is the best example I can give you. When you're a kid, I'm sure your parents spoke English with you. Subsequently, you know English now, sort of thing. You know, so it's one of those things where if you start off young, you're gonna have the encouragement when you're older. For example, you know, not only that, I think in general, my whole family has always been interested in the sport. We're all big sports fans, and so we would always have Sky Sports News on 24/7 in the house. And I'd always see breaking news coming from boxing, from other sports, and you know, like, you know, Joe Calzaghe goes out to USA and beats Bernard Hopkins, or David Haye dethrones Valuev to become new WBA heavyweight champion of the world. Hay Harrison, Groves to Gale, ringside obviously every week on Sky Sports. So, you know, things like this have always had me interested in such a great sport. And not only that, I mean, it's weird because boxing has changed so vastly, because when I was growing up, Frank Warren was the man in England, but you know, now Eddie Hearn's taken over pretty much with Matchroom. So the hype and the big fights in boxing when I was a kid have always kept my interest in the sport up until now. That's why I'm so passionate about it, and that's why I love the sport of boxing so much.
And you got to say though that that 2014, Eddie Hearn started the year with obviously Foch and Groves 1 and 2. But really, Frank Warren ended the year fantastically well. Bear in mind all that fight card he had. You know, 50-50 fight right down the card with Eubank and Saunders, Fury, Chisora, what's his name? Frankie Gavin and Skeet.
Skeet, yeah.
Bradley Skeet. I mean, you know, you just go even what's the guy's name? Frank Buglioni was in a fight with Andrew Robinson, which is a good fight too as well. You know, yeah, playing back and forth. Liam Walsh, Gary Sykes.
100%.
Good fight. So you look at that, then you compare that to Bellew Cleverly too.
Sure.
And then you look at the 50-50. Everyone else coming down the card, you knew who was going to win.
Oh, 100%. But Ingram, not only that, I think if we look at Foch Groves 2, and the thing is, this only really occurred to me the other day, and I know obviously the event's done and dusted, it was a great event, fair enough, but when I look at that event and think back, I think to myself, actually, although Hearn extremely wanted to make that fight, we all know that Froch wasn't keen on it. And if George Groves wouldn't have maybe gone to the IBF at the time he did to mandate Froch, would that fight have actually happened in May? Because if you clearly remember, when Carl Froch came back onto the Sky Sports news set and when he was on ringside, he actually said that Chavez Jr. is the next fight. So potentially, if it wasn't for George Groves pushing through that actual rematch with Carl Froch when he went to America to the IBF, maybe that rematch wouldn't have actually happened in May. It could have maybe happened later. And not only that, it might have just fallen through. Carl Froch may have just gone to Vegas, fulfilled his dream, and retired. However, it wasn't the case for Edwin. As you say, Frank Warren absolutely finished the year fantastically with the stacked card that he put on at the XL. I mean, fair enough, all the fights before it, in my opinion, was fantastic, like Gavin Skeet, Saunders, Eubank, Zorfu, all of great on the paper, and all more or less 50-50 fights, I agree. But, you know, the way Tyson Fury basically put on that masterclass against Chisora, switching to southpaw, boxing so well, and Gavin Skeet, also a great fight, also Buglioni Robinson, Saunders, Eubank Jr. By the way, in a couple of years' time, I'd love to see the rematch of Saunders, Eubank Jr. when Eubank Jr. is matured as a fighter. I'd love to see that again, but you're right, Frank Warren ended the year on a high, and I can't wait to see what Frank Warren has in store for us on Box Nation in 2015. As we already know, Stiverne Wilder will be up first on the 17th.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing was, you didn't have to pay pay-per-view for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the month, I think we said this in our last interview, that the month in November for Box Nation, I mean, if Frank Warren must have been so happy with the business he pulled off there, with some of the fights he managed to get, Crawford Beltran the same night as the Bad Blood card, I believe. That was on later, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then you have the Bad Blood card, Pacquiao, Gieri, Hopkins, Kovalev, you know, but then it's like I say, I think I don't know if you saw on Frank Warren's Twitter account. I know Frank Warren doesn't run his Twitter account, but he was having a bit of beef with Eddie Hearn there. They were having a bit of back and forth. I don't know if you saw that just after the Bad Blood in December time, I think. But you're right. I think the fact that was pay-per-view, and I think that the main event, you know, really let the fans down. To have a main event like that for £16.95, and you know, you sort of knew that Joshua was going to win. You knew Callum Smith was going to win. You know was going to win. Miguel's opponent turned up in pretty bad shape, to be honest. But not taking any credit away, because in fact I think the Gale fight was the most exciting fight. The Gale's knockout, that was the most exciting. Not taking credit away from James Gale. Their Parabang was a good opponent, but he didn't come up in good shape at all. So you know, it's a shame. I think Hearn needs to think about what he actually makes pay-per-view in 2015, and you know, think about the fans a bit more in terms of the fights he puts on.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about obviously this young 18-year-old turning up to. You know, you've seen all the things on television. Now you're a part of it as a fan and somebody who does boxing videos. What were you expecting to see the night before going to the Blood event?
Well, firstly, to me, it felt so surreal that I'd be seeing some of the boxers that I've seen online, on TV, in person. I remember when Billy Joe Saunders came into the weigh-in, I sort of looked at him in awe. I was like, oh God, is that Billy Joe Saunders? Like, what's going on? But, I mean, it's like you say, I mean, what I was expecting before the event, the night, I was excited. I couldn't wait to get to that Bad Blood weigh-in. I was very looking forward to seeing you, as we were on Twitter for a while, speaking. I was looking forward to meeting you in person. I was looking forward to meeting other people in the media industry who also do online media stuff for the fans. I was looking forward to meeting them. I was looking forward to meeting the fighters, seeing fighters in person, looking at the way, the whole spectacle, the whole event, the trainers, speaking to people, trying to get some interviews maybe. Hopefully people were hoping that people were as open and as friendly as they are on camera. So I was expecting, in all honesty, positive things before the event occurred. So I was looking really forward to it. Those were the things that I was expecting before the Bad Blood weigh-in.
Okay, and when you got there, what did you get to see?
So I think I might have said this phrase to you before: the perception isn't always the truth. And my perception before, like I said, was of extreme positivity and excitement. However, when I got there, it wasn't totally as what I was expecting. Um, okay, let's start off with the positive side because I always like to speak positives first.
Absolutely.
So the positive side was that firstly, Ingram, your extreme support for myself as being a youngster and for my boxing channel and boxing videos. For you, Ingram, I can't thank you enough for that. How open and friendly you were on Twitter before, and how open and friendly you and warming you were on the day. Seeing me straight away, we acknowledged each other, we knew who we were, and meeting you was fantastic, great experience with Bayloric. Also, another good thing is that gentleman named Peter Fury, Tyson Fury's trainer. Peter Fury is a very friendly and respectful man, and that's from the heart. I mean that honestly. Not only that, if you look at Peter Fury's Twitter, the way he interacts with fans, he does it with pure respect, and that definitely portrays in his character when you meet him in person, Ingram, for sure. When I met him in person, I went up to him, shook his hand. He knew who I was. I told him who I was, acknowledged me. I got a photo with him. A very, very friendly man. So full respect to Peter Fury, and also a guy named I believe his name's Simon from Sportsview London. Very, very friendly guy, very friendly. Started speaking to him, gave me advice, just like you did, Ingram. Gave me advice on the media industry, in the media world, what's it like to be a sports journalist. Some of the people he's interviewed, he gave me some of his thoughts on the fights. I think even though like both of you were busy interviewing people and both of you were busy editing clips, and still you guys took the time out to talk to me, which was fantastic because you're giving time for the fans, which was great, meeting guys like you, very positive. Frank Warren, also a nice guy. I managed to get a photo with him, very, very friendly guy. Steve Collins, senior, very, very nice guy as well. So those were the sort of, pretty cool, positive people. I believe I spoke to Gary Sykes. He's from Dewsbury, isn't he, from Leeds?
Yes.
Another very friendly guy. So those were the positives. Jim Rosenthal, absolute fantastic guy. Jim Rosenthal, very cool guy. Wish me support and all the best. Jim Rosenthal's a very, very top guy, and I really appreciate that. Very friendly. So those were the positives. Now, it's like you say, what actually happened on the day. Now on the flip side, like I say, perception and truth, two different things. Some of the people from, particularly the media world, from the media outlets world or from the media industry, weren't as weren't as opening and as friendly as I thought they would be, and maybe not supportive as I thought they would be, which disappoints slightly because at the end of the day you've got to remember where you came from, and you have to remember about the fans, and your target audience, your market, the people who made you essentially. So I was a bit disappointed. I didn't receive a decent amount of support from certain people I thought I would have. And maybe there wasn't as much openness and as much of a warm feeling with certain people that I thought that there would have been. Sense of ignorement, a bit of ignoring going on there that day, but it is what it is. I wasn't expecting certain things from certain media outlets, but which was a shame, coming from a young kid like myself, people support on the day, give maybe a bit of advice, and yeah, so a few things from a few places wasn't what I was expecting, but there are only a couple of people who just it is what it is at the end of the day.
Well, if I could add some form of encouragement to you, is that in life you're going to meet people that you may see on television that portrayed one way, and they're edited to look one way. But then when you get to meet them in person, they can't edit out their character. They can't edit out their behavior traits. They can't edit out their arrogance and their ignorance. And that's not just they're very arrogant and ignorant people. My suggestion to you is learn from them where they're making their mistakes and ensure that you don't do it yourself. And ensure that everybody that you come across in your life, that you don't repeat those mistakes and you be the better person every time. And that's why it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. And, you know, Baylor started from the bottom. I mean, the bottom, you're doing grassroots in sport of cricket, right? And that's helping people from an underprivileged background, right? And that was in sport. And we've taken it from that into a television station. So you can imagine the amount of knockbacks you get, the amount of people that don't want to talk to you, don't want to engage with you, people don't want to ignore you. People today that you'd think, oh, I'm surprised that person is engaging with you or didn't engage with you. But you know, at the end of the day, this just makes you a better person. And it makes you a better person in the sport. And my encouragement to you is embrace that and those people that were good for you. Remember what they've done for you. Focus on that. And forget about those who didn't pay you any mind because they weren't for you. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, definitely 100%. I think you certainly hit the nail on the head. You know, sometimes the way people are on camera aren't actually the way they are off camera. And it was quite funny and laughable actually when you see it in person. You know, you think to yourself, you're like, wow, you're that person on camera, but you're all that, you're all positivity and laughing and friendly all on camera. But when it comes off camera, what are you really like?
Yeah,
you know,
you have to ask yourself the question: what's the intentions of what they're doing? Are they doing it because they actually care about the fans? Are they doing it because they care about their pocket? Are they doing it because they care about themselves and what they can get out of life? You've got to remember, some of these people maybe you're seeing have never been in a position of power or authority beforehand. They've never been in a position of responsibility. They've never been acknowledged in their life. They probably didn't get acknowledged at school. They probably came last at sports day. They probably were not very popular in the class. You understand?
Yeah.
So now they've been ignored in life, and so now they may have a little bit of shine on them, and now they feel they're the dog's bollocks basically, and so therefore now the light shine on them. They've just basically repeated what happened to them. So when you look at that, just think, okay, that's where you're at. That's where you're at, but that's not where I am at, and just move on from it. So that's it. Take a smile and think to yourself, you know what? I can do better, and you know you can do better. And you're 18 years old seeing this.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm still young, and you know, it's like I say, I will remember the things that I witnessed and saw that day, and you know, I'll remember the positivity and the openness and warmth who came from certain people, such as yourself, Simon and Peter Fury, Jim Rosenthal, people like that. You know, Frank Warren, a top guy in person, very friendly. Wish me well, so thank you very much, young man, for coming. You know, so people like that, you know, I'll remember, and you know, the other people, you know, it is what it is. But I'll just focus on the positivity and the good things, and you know, like I say, a young kid like myself, I'll just move onwards and upwards. So yeah, fingers crossed, all the best.
Absolutely. We're in 2015 now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the big fight that everybody's talking about: Stiverne Wilder.
So you know what, this fight is, in my opinion, some people call me crazy when I say this, but I genuinely think it's 50-50. I actually do. I do think it's a 50-50 fight. Here's why. Stiverne's loss against, I believe, Demetrius King, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, Stiverne's loss against Demetrius King. Now, is it just me, or was that stoppage slightly similar to Froch Groves 1, in the sense that Stiverne wasn't even given a standing count? The ref sort of just jumped in, you know? And even Stiverne didn't look like he was even going to go down. He was just sort of, he was taking a couple of punches, fair enough, but at least give him a standing count or something. You know what I mean? So, as far as I'm concerned, Stiverne hasn't really lost yet, because that's his only defeat. And he's knocked out guys like Chris Arreola, who, in my opinion, is actually a credible opponent. You know, he was opponent spoken about for Tyson Fury after David Haye pulled out, one of Arreola and Wilder and so on and so forth. So, and not that, Stiverne has got power. He can punch, as we've seen against Arreola. The guy can fight. You he sort of he does walk forward a lot. He does, sometimes jabs once, maybe twice, comes back, does like to walk forward, does like to use his power. He's not the tallest of guys, but he is quite stocky. So he will try to impose that on Wilder. But on the other hand, Deontay Wilder, who has, 32 knockouts, this guy is strong. He knows how to knock people out. Okay, fair enough. He has not fought, really any credible opponents as of yet, which is why Stiverne is his judgment day. He will be tested, for the world title on the world stage against BERMANE STIVERNE. And this is when people will judge Deontay Wilder, because this now is showtime for him. There's no hiding from this now from Deontay Wilder. This is it for him. He needs to go and catch that world heavyweight title. Now, that overhand right that he uses, he needs to use that to full effect. Now, he needs to use his athleticism, his height, and you know what? I like to see a different side to Deontay Wilder. I like to see a mature performance from Deontay Wilder, in the sense that don't just look for that overhand right. Don't just look for the knockout. I like to see a Tyson Fury-esque performance like he did against Chisora. I like to see him use his jab, use his height on Stiverne, use that jab, use his speed, athleticism, and kind of get him up for that right hand. Don't just throw it like needlessly for no reason. Don't just go over there, try to knock him out. I like to see a full round proper performance from Deontay Wilder against Stiverne, and I think it will be. And this is what I'm saying is 50-50, because Wilder has something to prove, and also Stiverne himself is a very, very strong character, strong fighter. So can Wilder use the knockout ability he's had against previous opponents on Stiverne, who is the world champion? So this is why I think it's 50-50, and I think it's very, very intriguing. And if I had to give you a winner right now, gut feeling, with Wilder's knockout percentage, 100% knockout percentage, and his confidence level of knocking people out, who says he can't knock out Stiverne as well if he's knocked out so many other opponents? So my gut feeling is Wilder, but Stiverne, has got that heart of the champion, and he's going to want to keep that WBC heavyweight title on him. How about what your thoughts about?
When Malik Scott fought Wilder, there were rumours going around that this fight's going to get staged, it's going to get fixed.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay much attention to those rumours. Then I saw the fight.
Right.
And there were question marks left about that fight.
100%.
Now, there are rumours going around about this Stiverne fight with Wilder. The rumour is that Golden Boy have bought the WBC title. The rumour is that the fight's going to be a fix. And that the belt's going to get given. Basically, it's just going to be... It's a Wilder victory in the bag already. Now, I don't want to come across as a Wilder hater, because that's not the case. I want Deontay Wilder to win the world title legitimately. Clean. No dubiousness around it. It's WBC belt. It's the most prestigious belt in boxing when you talk WBC. The green belt.
Yeah, of course.
And you've just had Vitaly Klitschko hold the belt. You've had Stiverne defeat the Areola for the title.
Yeah.
And then for the title to just change hands because they just want an American, they want the heavyweight championship back in America. I don't know. Anything's possible. When I interviewed Don House, which is Stiverne's trainer, he says, in boxing, anything's possible. But what we know is that we've got to knock the guy out. Stiverne's thinking is, look, this guy has got a big right hand. We know that. So from that, I detect he's going to try and stay away from the right hand and land his own punches. If you look at Stiverne when he was an amateur, he handled guys like Price and Helenius to very good effect. Tall, rangy guys, big punches. Against Price, he stopped Price when Price was trying to throw punches on. Bearing in mind, that was a young Stiverne, a Stiverne that was a lot slimlined. This Stiverne is slower of feet. Deontay Wilder has knocked a lot of guys out. We don't know how big a puncher Deontay Wilder is at elite level. So it's a case of, for me, who hits who first. Because we even know that Stiverne's got a good chin. We're not sure about Wilder's chin.
That's true.
We're not sure about Wilder's chin. We're not even sure about Wilder's technique. We just know he can knock people out. We don't know about his technique. We don't know about what happens if he gets backed up with a jab. We don't know what happens when he gets hit on the chin. We don't know how he fights going backwards. We don't know that. We don't even know if Wilder can actually box. And from his amateur career, it was a small fighter that actually knocked him out. He was towering over a smaller guy, and the smaller guy knocked him over. So yes, Wilder's gotten better. We hope, because if you're fighting all that sort of level of opposition, and then you're jumping from that level of opposition now to fighting Stiverne, people say though, who's Stiverne fought? He fought Areola, but he was struggling against Ray Austin. So, you know, I don't know. I think that if the fight goes past 4 rounds, I'm looking Stiverne. If the fight goes past 4 rounds, I think Wilder's going to win. He's going to do it in the first 4.
Sure. I think the thing is if you watch my Saul's Yubat Junior preview, I gave a bit of a similarity between Yubat Junior and Wilder, in the sense that you're fighting these non-credible opponents and then jumping up to Saunders, and just like Wilder fighting these non-credible opponents but jumping up to Stiverne. I mean, in my opinion, they must be keeping something under wraps about Wilder. I mean, I don't know. Do they not want to expose all of his talent? So when he comes to the world title fight, his opponent is going to be like, oh, actually, hang on a second, he could do this and do that. Or are we going to see a complete performance from Deontay Wilder? Because you are right in the sense that we don't know if he can actually jab and keep his opponent at long range. We don't know if he can really box that well with his technique. But this is what I'm saying. It's his judgment day. So for him, it's showtime. He needs to turn up. So I'm hoping for a complete performance. I'm hoping he can keep it long with Stiverne, using his jab, using his height range. And I'm hoping that he can actually size him up for the right hand instead of just needlessly swinging it constantly like he does. Because even against Audley Harrison, when he knocked Harrison down, he was when Harrison was on the floor, he was swinging his right hand so much that he was actually missing Harrison when he was on the floor. So I'm hoping that he gives us a complete Deontay Wilder and a proper performance where we can see his boxing technique. But I think that Stiverne has to, like you say, let the early rounds go so we can sort of get more comfortable maybe with Stiverne's height and the long range that Wilder's going to be keeping at. Sorry, I mean Wilder's height. But yeah, it's like you say, it will be very, very intriguing.
So what do you think about the whole thing about the fix? Do you think there's a fix there? Don King betting on Stiverne to lose. 65% goes to Stiverne, 35% goes to King. WBC belt in the hands of Golden Boy.
You know, we always hear about these conspiracy theories or these potential fixes that have happened with politics and boxing or with certain world governing bodies or certain boxing organizations. The thing is that the way I look at it is that Klitschko's going to be in America for his voluntary defense in March against an American opponent we believe potentially Bryant Jennings.
Well, I could tell you 95% it'll be Bryant Jennings.
Yeah, Bryant Jennings, there we go. So that's one American going at it for the heavyweight title. But then we have Wilder now, the other American. So, I mean, in England, to be totally honest with you, because at the moment it's just a theory or a story out there, I'm not really going to believe too much into it, because when it comes to the fight, we could see the potential exposure of Deontay Wilder on the world stage. We could see him out of his depth completely with a proper fighter in Stiverne, who is the world champion. So I don't think that you know the Golden Boy have the WBC themselves. I don't 100% think that, because I think the WBC are, you know, a proper governing body. I like to think so. I wouldn't like to think they're corrupt or anything like that. I like to think everything's clean. You know what I mean? I like boxing.
We'd love to believe that, but we know history. Let's just look at Meldrick Taylor and Chavez. 2 seconds from the end, the fight stopped. Well, Chavez was way behind the scorecards. You know, you could tell that the referee's hand was in the pocket there. I mean, yeah, as soon as you get a chance, stop him. As soon as there's a chance, as soon as you get any chance you can remotely get to stop this guy, stop him. And you know, there's also the thing about BERMANE STIVERNE, how he's not really recognised in America. He's an American taxpayer, right? But people are he's the Haitian. People not giving STIVERNE the credit he deserves.
Yeah, because I mean, didn't Stiverne box for Canada, the amateurs?
I believe he did.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But hold on, didn't Lennox Lewis box for Canada in the amateurs?
Yeah, he did as well. Both of them did. So I think it's like you say, it's a touchy subject because for all we know, yeah, you know what, there could something be happening behind closed doors. For example, look at the world governing body in football and FIFA. You know, they couldn't be in any more non-transparent waters because you know we're seeing the clear corruption in FIFA. So if that's happening in the world governing body in football, which is one of the world's biggest sports, and who says it can't be happening with the WBC and boxing itself? You are right. I do see a point. They could. I think potentially they could. As much as I wouldn't like to think so, because
how much money is going to be made? Will be made if Deontay Wilder becomes heavyweight champion of the world. How much money could be made? Think.
A lot. Of course, a lot would be made.
We're talking millions and millions and millions and millions.
You're right.
If I give you 5 or 10 million, hey, step aside money. Here's the belt. Here's the money. 10 million on a night. There you go. You can always come back and fight Tyson Fury or somebody else afterwards. Just let this guy become world champion.
Yeah, I mean, now you sort of say it to me in that way, you know, it does make me think a bit more. Yeah, you know what?
See, I don't want to see the fight that way. I want to see two guys getting it on January 17th, and the best fighter win. But Don King's involved. Tim Witherspoon released the book, and in the book he said he took a dive. He took a dive.
No, I know.
Right?
I know.
So look.
It is what it is. Okay, I mean, the way you explain it, it's like you said, there's more likely something going on behind closed doors than
I hope there's not. I really hope it's just a vicious rumour.
Both of us said there's not. That's why I'm hoping it's just a conspiracy theory. I don't want to read too much into it.
Hey, listen, I'm the conspiracy theorist that said that David Haye would not fight Tyson Fury. I said that he would pull out the fight the first time. People laughed at me. He pulled out the first time. I said he'd pull out the second time. I had people on various media outlets said basically said indirectly I was full of rubbish. Did the fight happen?
Of course it did, but we all know what David Haye is a complete fraudster. We know that. David Haye fights people like Andy Harrison and bigs it up into a massive fight to get a couple of million quid himself when he knows he's going to knock him out. I mean, come on. And let's be honest, the decision against Value, if that was a draw, no one would have complained. He also got lucky there. Fights Klitschko, bigs himself up as to how he's going to knock Klitschko out, and then moans about his tour afterwards. And then says, "Oh, I'm going to have a comeback in 2014." Pulls out twice against Tyson Fury. Let's get this clear. Fakes an injury. Let's get that clear. Fakes an injury. There was an injury that never occurred, or he created the injury himself. Did not want to fight Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury would have won that fight. I think Tyson Fury would have won that fight. Simple. I don't think David Haye would have got to him with his power, but I think Tyson Fury, there was something about that fight where I thought Tyson Fury, you know what? This guy just got David Haye's number. His will to win, his big heart, his desire. And like I said in my interview with you, with Peter Fury in his corner, I think that I believe that Tyson Fury would have 100% won that fight. David Haye says, yeah, I'm going to have it up in 2014 on the same night as Fox goes to has to get his 2 pence worth in. Forget it. Forget it,
back in 2015. The saviour of the heavyweight division returns in 2015.
But you know what, though? Come to think of it, can you really be asked for what David Haye's got to say anymore? Are you even interested? I don't even care anymore. I'm not interested.
Yeah, you say that now. You say that now. But once you hear that theme tune, and you see him coming to the ring, ain't no stopping. You'll be glad he'll be back. I'm telling you.
No, the thing is, in the ring, what I'm saying is, in the ring, he's a great fighter. I'm not saying he's a poor fighter in the ring. He's a good fighter in the ring. I'm not saying that. The problem I have with David Haye is essentially his out of the ring antics, what he does out of the ring, which annoys me. For example, how much money was on the table for the Tyson Fury fight? How much money did the Furies waste on getting guys in for sparring and that whole fight. There was so much money. There was so much money on the table for that fight. Why would you pull out? You get the public hyped about, in my opinion, the biggest domestic bust-up since Lewis Bruno, right? In the heavyweight division. Why would you pull out of that fight with a little cut just here? Like, come on. I mean, the public was hyped about that fight. We all wanted to see that fight.
I said it. So all I'm saying is that in terms of Stiverne and Wilder, I spoke to his trainer. I will try very hard to get a hold of Stiverne and ask him direct what the hell is going on.
I don't know what's going on. So I've got that conspiracy theory, so I don't know what's going on. But
so I'm going to do more searching up on it, but it just I didn't like it. I didn't like it when I heard it with Malik Scott, and I don't like it now.
No, 100%. I mean, we all know. Listen, at the end of the day, come to think of it, I mean, let's be honest. It seems to be about the money, doesn't it? Really. I mean, if you look, for example, with the Hay-Klitschko super fight, what Klitschko was getting 25, Hay was getting 20. Do you really think Hay cared what the fans thought after he gave the excuse about his toe? I mean, he couldn't care less. I mean, the thing is, I think the public just forgotten about that fight or something. The hype he gave Klitschko
What I think happened, I tell you what I think happened in the fight, yeah. I think what happened in the fight, Klitschko buzzed him early, right? With a good shot, and he thought, you know what? I don't want any of this. I'm going to get knocked out tonight. So I'm going to get on my bicycle and just try and, if I can, catch him with a shot. Lucky shot coming in. I don't think he realised how good Klitschko actually was.
You know what? Although Klitschko's fights may be boring, essentially, you know, he could. I think Klitschko could hold his own in any era. To be honest, I think he could hold his own. But what annoyed me is that the way he had the fight so much, saying he would do this to Klitschko, that to Klitschko, he's a robot, or this and that.
When you talk about Klitschko in any era, the era just gone with Lewis, Tyson, Holyfield, Ruddock, Morrison, he'd have to be in America, and he'd have to have all those fights in America. He can't be staying in Germany having a monopoly with the judges and the refs and no. You have to fight in America. Would we still have that same sort of power that he has? Because you've got that sort of aura in Germany. Everything kind of suits me. I've got everything. I've got a monopoly in Germany. If he was fighting in America all the time, would it be the same?
The thing is, Klitschko has fought in America before, right? He's fought in the Staples Center, hasn't he? In LA and places like that. So he has fought.
And he got knocked out by Lamont Brewster. I think that was the last defeat he had in America. And then he came to Germany and it's up in Germany, both of them.
But then he's going to America now, right, in March. So for all we know, okay, let's say Klitschko didn't have those losses in America before. Let's just say he's boxed in Germany the whole time, right, for his career. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. So he's boxed in Germany, yet we know he's a great champion. He's probably a great champion. But you look at him now. Now he's going to America to fight Brian Jennings, and basically, I was personally surprised when I heard Klitschko was going to America.
Now, think this out logically. Brian Jennings is a WBC #1 contender. If he gets rid of Brian Jennings, he then becomes a WBC #1 contender. If he fights in April, becomes WBC champion, by the end of the year, he could become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. On that basis, then he could retire.
Sure, but why in America? Why not bring Brian Jennings to Germany?
Well, they probably don't think they can get Jennings in Germany, and they can't have the same rights. Maybe because Jennings is #1 contender, and they probably think they can make more money in America. Plus, he wants to get back on HBO as well. And HBO probably said, you know what? You've signed a contract at HBO, and part of the HBO stipulation is you're going to have to bring us some exciting fights. So you fight the #1 contender. You just finished beating Pulev. You're now going to go and fight Jennings. And then he's got a mandatory against Tyson Fury. So
the thing is, though, the way I look at it is, I've heard Klitschko in an interview. I've heard him the interview specifically asked him, why do you not fight outside of Germany? And he said his answer was that financially it's to do with the euro. Why I don't fight in America, because the euro is more stronger, so financially it makes more sense. So essentially, when he's technically make more money in Germany, because he's saying that financially himself. He's saying financially
he can say what he wants. Basically, he's got home comforts. That's basically what his Klitschko's got. Klitschko's got home comforts. He's got the referee. He's got the judges. Not that he's ever needed the judges.
Yeah,
but he's got that there.
Yeah.
You know. We look at the fight that when Shah fought Vitaly Klitschko, and Shah only had a little nick in his eye, right?
Yeah,
a little nick, and the fight was stopped. Who was that doctor?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And believe it or not, I was thinking about it the other day. What's going on with Manuel Charr right now? Because I've seen a few videos on YouTube. He's out in Vegas with Roger Mayweather and Freddie Roach.
Yeah.
And you know what? But you know what? Let's be honest. He got knocked out by Povetkin. Knocked out completely by Povetkin. So, and after that, he's trying to come back, obviously, doing his own stuff. He's trying to find a new trainer, he says. But I would like to see Manuel Charr back in the ring soon against a good opponent.
I'll tell you who I'd like to see back in the ring, Tony Thompson. And I'd also like to see, what's the other guy's name? Robert Helenius.
Yeah, I'd like to see Helenius back in the ring as well, but, I mean, it's fair to say Chisora beat Helenius, right? I think
it's fair to say he beat him, but
yeah, it's fair to say that.
Yeah.
Beat Helenius, but Manuel Charr, I was looking at some videos on him the other day on YouTube, and you know, I'd 100% love to see that guy back in the ring, because the fight against Klitschko was, like you say, 100% unfairly stopped, and then he had the pullout against Hay, and then he had the Povetkin fight. But every time you hear him talk, he always says, "I want that fight with Klitschko back." So for him now, and he says that he likes training more in America, because in Germany it's more compact boxing, whereas in America
I saw the Shah fight. He did not fight anywhere near the sort of Shah that I knew of. Manuel Shah.
Against Povetkin he was poor, right?
Yeah, I don't know. That fight always makes me feel very uncomfortable watching that fight.
Yeah, he looked very unmotivated.
And he was in Russia fighting, right?
Yeah. He was in Russia. That's right. He was in Russia. But yeah, I mean, it's like you say back before with Klitschko, the HBO deal. What, he's got a 3-fight deal with HBO, so he's got 2 fights left.
Yeah.
So basically, the plan for him, I mean, it's like I was saying before. If he just fought in Germany, but then now he's going to America with this HBO deal. So let's just say that, like I said, those losses didn't happen, but he could be on this high that he is now with the HBO deal, and also with the confidence to go to America and win. But this is what I'm saying. I think that honestly Klitschko could actually, Vladimir Klitschko and Vitaly Klitschko, because Vitaly Klitschko, yeah, although he got stopped by Lennox Lewis, fair enough, he hasn't actually been knocked out. He hasn't really
I'll always say Vitaly was a better fighter. I'll always say Vitaly's a better fighter.
But let's not forget, Vitaly was a fighter from day one. Vladimir became a fighter. Vladimir was doing his own thing with sports science and PhD. And then Vladimir came into boxing, whereas Vitaly was a fighter from day one. He always boxed. And if you look at Vitaly, he's always got that intensity about him. If you look at he's very intense. And the thing is, I think both of them could have held their own in any era, to be honest.
All right, well then how would Vladimir have done against Riddick Bowe? Prime Riddick Bowe.
Well, obviously, it's hard for me to remember what Riddick Bowe did, because in honesty, I haven't really watched.
Riddick Bowe in his prime was a brilliant inside fighter, fantastic jab. Then you've got Lennox Lewis. Okay, I don't think Vladimir would have lasted with Lewis, to be honest.
How about the Vitaly fight? Do you think Lewis should have taken a rematch?
Lewis was out of shape when he fought Vitaly, man. He was out of shape. He'd beaten Tyson, and Vitaly he was meant to fight Kevin. Is it Kevin Johnson? I'm sure it was Kevin not Kevin Johnson. Somebody he was meant to fight, and that guy pulled out, and he said, "You know what? Give me a Klitschko. I'll fight a Klitschko instead." So he fought a Klitschko, and he was underprepared for that fight. Lewis was out of shape for that fight. He was out of shape, and he still beat Vitaly Klitschko. Imagine if Lewis was in shape for that fight.
The thing is, though, who would win in a prime Lewis or prime Vitaly Klitschko?
Lennox Lewis, prime, perfect. Like Lewis, no question about it. Lennox Lewis, prime. Yeah, come on, man.
And then so then I was okay. Fair enough. I agree that.
Look at Vitaly's face. Vitaly's face was busted up by Lewis, yeah, and that was that was a Lewis that wasn't in shape, right? He wasn't in shape. When you look at Lewis when he fought Rackman, for example, when he came in shape, and
I've seen that fight.
Exactly, different fighter. Vitaly could only fight one way, which was excellent. But every time Lewis hit with the uppercut, Vitaly had no answer to it. his face was getting busted up. I think Lewis would have it would have been a good fight, but I think Lewis would have beaten him. I think he would have done.
No, the thing is, the more I think about it now, right, Klitschko was, let's be honest, pretty inexperienced, right, at the time when he fought Lewis. Pretty inexperienced. So the way I look at it is, with Vitaly Klitschko, with if you look at the way he just dominates and knocked out his opponents now, although they weren't as credible as something like Lennox Lewis, I think maybe a more experienced Vitaly Klitschko, someone who would have fought better opponents, would have actually given Lewis a decent test. I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Vitaly Klitschko, you talk about Vitaly Klitschko in his world heavyweight reign, that Vitaly Klitschko versus a prime Lewis, now we've got a fight.
Yeah. That's the question I was saying before. The prime.
I mean, so where is Vitaly's prime then?
His second reign as heavyweight champion, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say second reign from what was it? 07? Did he return?
So you talk about after he beat Corey Sanders?
Yes, I'm talking about that second reign as champion of Vitaly Klitschko. I think that was his prime against a prime Lewis. That fight, I think that's a competitive fight. I think that's.
I think Vitaly's got a very good inside game. I think Lewis gets inside and rips the uppercuts in. I think Lewis brawls with him and beats him on the inside.
Yeah. Okay, but do you think Vitaly uses his height advantage? Uses his reach advantage?
No, Lewis says he fought better against bigger men, and I think he did. I think you look at the Glotter fight, you look at the fight he had with Shannon Briggs, exciting fights. Guys with big, powerful punches, and Briggs was the linear heavyweight champion of the world at the time. He'd just beaten George Foreman, so he was the man. Lewis came along and beat Briggs, and Briggs was young, big punching. People say Lewis had no chin, but he took Briggs' best shots and came back at him.
But if you look at the way Vladimir boxed, the performance against Pulev, in my opinion, was class.
It was class. And I put that down as my knockout of the year because of what it did for boxing. The heavyweight champion of the world goes out and stops the #1 contender, who everyone said was dangerous and was avoided, and that put the heavyweight division back on the map in people's eyes. People want to see the heavyweight champion of the world fight again. People are excited to hear that Klitschko's coming to America to potentially fight Jennings. People have got it in their minds that he's just going to go over there and blast Jennings out there because of that performance against Pulev.
Of course, I think that the heavyweight division needs that because we're used to seeing sort of unanimous decision 12-round performances by Vladimir. So, and also the heavyweight division was dead and it still can seem to be that for a very long time. So we need the world heavyweight champion to go out and knock his opponents out.
That's why
Lewis did against Tyson and like Lewis did against Hasim Rahman.
That's why I called it KO of the year. All those other KOs are good KOs. They're all good KOs. But it's what it means for a division. Those KOs make good for a fight but for a division that desperately needed the champion to stand up and do something on a globally, not just in America, globally. His knockout, Klitschko's knockout affected the whole world. It affected the UK for the UK heavyweights. It affected America. Obviously, you've got Tyson Fury watching that. You've got Bright Jennings watching that. You've got Stiverne watching that in Canada and the Asian world. See, that's a huge impact. And obviously Eastern Europe as well.
100%, because, I mean, the way I look at it is, before the fight I gave a preview saying it would be a boring jab fest by Klitschko. And I'm so happy you proved me wrong, because as the fans of boxing, and with Briggs at ringside, and let's go, champ! Let's go! Let's go, champ! Let's go, champ! Let's go, champ! Let's go right now! This is show. But yeah, no. On a serious note, though, the heavyweight division needed that sort of solidified, destructive performance by Klitschko. Right. Because people need to stand up and think, you know what? Look, this is the heavyweight champion of the world. This is what he's going to do. He's going to knock you out. He's going to knock your opponents out. He's going to give you the excitement that we need, the fans need, and going out to the masses on HBO in America. And you know what? I was crying out for Klitschko to have because his knockout of Eddie Chambers was a good knockout in the 12th round. But Emmanuel Stewart had to beg him for that knockout. In the corner, he was screaming to him, "You got to knock this guy out." He's going to say, I've been 12 rounds with the heavyweight champ, Vladimir Klitschko, and then he went and knocked him out. And Manuel Shun was begging for that knockout. And he did the same now with Jonathan Banks this time in his corner with Kubrat Pulev. And I'm so happy he gave that solidified, destructive performance that us fans so badly needed.
Absolutely, but people forget about that first round, that left jab that rocked Klitschko. Because the next minute, Pulev was on the canvas. So there's vulnerabilities there still.
But also, there was also vulnerability because Alex Lapai in the 5th round. What happened when Alex Lapai rocked him? Klitschko went. He didn't actually turn to it. He didn't just stand there and jab and keep it long. Then Klitschko knocked out Lapai when Lapai hurt him in the 5th round. So, but the thing is though, although we're seeing vulnerability there, if we look at the way when Klitschko gets hurt, what he does when he comes back, for example, against Lapai and Pulev, that's a worrying sign for any opponent. Because if he's hurt, that can actually rile him up or hack him off slightly and say, you know what, actually, I'm not going to have this. I'm the heavyweight champion in the world. You're going to be on the floor in a minute. I'm going to knock you out. So it's good to see that. So it doesn't maybe, I don't know, I'm hoping it annoys Klitschko a bit when he does get hit. Because let's not forget, Stewards giving him that style, tucked in chin, don't put it further out than what your left knee, I believe. Yeah. Keep it in, so, and obviously keep that jab out as far as you can. Give yourself a height and reach advantage, which is why Stewart was so effective with Lewis and why he's been so effective with Vladimir Klitschko. And Ingram, I hope the points I'm making, I hope you're understanding as to why I would say something like the Klitschko's would potentially hold their own in any area with someone like Emmanuel Stewart in their corner. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. I believe their style would still be very effective. And, you know, when I look at guys like Vitaly Klitschko in his prime, in his second reign, he would be, an extremely good competitive fighter, a very good fighter in his reign. And, and same with Vladimir. I think Vladimir now is realizing that, you know what, I've got this deal with HBO. You know what I need to do? I need to go out and put on these solid performances because this is going to go out to the masses of America. I want Let's Go Champ to see what I'm doing to these opponents because I want Shannon Briggs to see this is what I'm going to do to you if you get in the ring with me, and so on and so forth. So, at the end of the day, Klitschko needs to be put on these sort of performances because
I don't think Shannon Briggs will get to fight Klitschko unless he fights somebody of note. I mean, somebody in the top 3, top 4. That's the way.
Wasn't the WBA ranking him at 8th at one point or something? The WBA had these stitches. I went on Box Rec or something, or Fight News, so I can't remember. I went on a certain account, and I think Shannon Briggs was 8th in the WBA, and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? He has fought nobody, and he's 8th in WBA. But I think Shannon Briggs posted on his Instagram that Bernd Bote, the Klitschko's manager, actually said Briggs is a possibility because of his absolute huge height that he brings with him, taunting Klitschko in the water.
But you can't validate. If Klitschko wants to become heavyweight champion of the world, that's different because if he wants to muck about and fight, but if he's serious about becoming heavyweight champion of the world, then what he needs to be able to do is get that #1 spot, get rid of Jennings, get that #1 spot, and then fight whoever the WBC champion is, whether it be Wilder or Stiverne.
In terms of who you think will win out of Fury versus Vladimir Klitschko when he fights as mandatory?
I think Fury can do it.
Fury, do you say? Tyson Fury?
I think Fury can do it.
You know what? I think the same as well.
Reach, height, power, movement.
But, okay, who do you think's a better trainer, Peter Fury or Jonathan Banks? For me, it's Peter Fury all day, every day.
Fury now fights more opponents, world-class opponents, to really determine that. We've seen what he's done to Chisora. Let's see what he does on now. This is the next platform, next up. Let's see what he does against other world-class opponents. And then not just Chisora because it's old ground. So and as for Jonathan Banks, I don't know. I know they're now working on getting Klitschko to be more aggressive, back to the Klitschko who fought before Manage took over. That seems to be the idea. So I don't know how much, because Emmanuel Stewart spent a lot of time with Klitschko, and I guess Banks knows the way Emmanuel Stewart would train. But does he really need Banks? I mean, you've got Bashir in the corner, and I believe Bashir will probably have his input as well. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I know that Peter Fury is there, and I guess he's the head man. And again, I don't know how much input Peter's getting from anybody else, but I certainly know that Peter's his own man. So with that in mind, he's doing very well at the moment. But we just need to see. This year will tell us a little bit more about Peter Fury as a trainer. He's got Christian Hammer next. He's going to get right. Well, he's going to get past Hammer. Let him get rid of Hammer, and then we'll see. We'll see what problems, if any, Hammer brings, and then we'll see what happens after that. Whether it's because Stiverne said he would fight Fury if he gets past Wilder.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's a lot of implications for Fury. Because let's not forget, WBO mandatory. It isn't due for a while yet. Because he's got his voluntary in March, so he might not even potentially fight Klitschko to the end of the year, for all we know. So basically, and understand there's a lot of implication with Stiverne and Wilder, because we all know that Sky Sports refused Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, and we all know that Frank Warren won't think twice before putting this fight on Box Station, because we know that he even put Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder on, but then had to call the press conference off. So we know that Frank Warren won't think twice about putting Wilder Fury or Stiverne versus Fury. So there's a lot of implications for Fury, because let's say he does win the WBC title, and then he fights Klitschko at the end of the year. Fury, for all we know, by the end of 2015, could be undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, potentially. So for all we know, there's a lot of implications for Tyson Fury as well in what he does with Klitschko, because I think Fury can beat Klitschko. He's got the heart, desire, will to win. That his height, his reach advantage, his jab, he could keep Klitschko at bay big time, and prevent Klitschko basically from using right destructive hand and that huge left hook which knocked out Pulev. So I think Fury has got a great chance against Klitschko. And
he'll have to raise his levels, because now he's going to have somebody who hits mighty hard in Klitschko with a left hook and a right hand. So that's something else that Fury's going to have to deal with now, and somebody who will be able to reach his chin, no problems.
Yeah, I think Vladimir on the inside there will have to be very, very strong. But no, I agree with you 100%. I think Fury can do it. But the thing is, would you, as a fan, rather see Fury fight Stiverne, the winner of Stiverne or Wilder or Klitschko? From a fan excitement, hype fight perspective, what would you rather see?
I would rather see Fury fight Klitschko. I think that has to happen. I just think it has to happen. I'd rather see that fight. We've seen how Fury fights against smaller guys. Let's see how he fights against guys his own size.
So, in terms of own size, you'd rather see Klitschko or Wilder, because Wilder's very tall as well.
Yeah.
Same, I would like to think that as well, because instead of punching down and hitting the forehead, he'll be hitting the chin of his opponents instead. So we'd like to see some knockout power from Fury as well.
Yep.
So I definitely look forward to seeing that, because, like you say, we know what he can do against guys like Chisora, Kevin Johnson. He could do the same for Stiverne. I think I've seen Peter Fury say that he's more up for Stiverne than Klitschko. I think mainly because of Stiverne's height and Fury's huge reach advantage.
Absolutely.
So he could be battering Stiverne all around the ring and catch that WBC title.
But the one thing that Stiverne's got that Chisora doesn't have is that one-punch knockout power.
Yeah. In all fairness, Stiverne has got that power, but then again, for all we know, Fury may not even let him use that. He might keep him that far at range,
absolutely,
like he did with Chisora, which is a fantastic performance.
I think Stiverne's a better boxer than
100%, he's a better boxer. He'll be jabbing much more quicker at Fury and coming forward in a much more productive way than what Chisora did, because we've seen when Stiverne can come forward, he can knock guys out like he did Areola. So Stiverne is much more cleverer, but you're right, from a fan perspective, I'd like to see him fight someone of his own size as such, for example, a Vladimir Klitschko or a Deontay Wilder. They're going to be Clash of the Titans fights. That's going to be some exciting fights. And potentially, and not just that, we could see a new era of the 15 of the heavyweight division. There may well be a new era. There could be a dethroning of Vladimir Klitschko, for all we know. Potentially.
Brian Jennings is planning it.
And Fury could actually put that plan to action by the end of the year. So we could potentially have Stiverne Wilder champion of the WBC and Fury the champion of WBO, BA, and IBF.
Who knows?
So it could be a completely new landscape, which is very, very exciting to think about.
Very exciting.
Absolutely.
So, Pav, it's been great talking to you.
Absolutely, England. It's been a pleasure talking to you as always.
How do people connect with you on Twitter?
My Twitter is at Pavstar, so at PAVST4R. That's my Twitter at Pavstar, and my YouTube channel is PSB Sports.
Have you got a Facebook channel? Facebook page?
I have not got a Facebook page because my Facebook was hacked about a year or so I had to deactivate my account, annoyingly. But no, I will be putting up a Facebook channel pretty soon.
Create a Facebook page and then put the video on there.
Absolutely, will do. I post most of my videos on Twitter, so do get on Twitter, guys, and do get at my videos on Twitter. And obviously, I've done loads of stuff on my channel already, and also I've done an interview with Ingram as well, already, which was fantastic.
Man, Pav, take care. Thanks for talking to Bayloric TV.
Thank you very much. Thanks for talking to PSB Sports as well, and I'll speak to you guys. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.